Hello, welcome to podcast Night Court Narrative. My name is Quinn. This is Elvish. That's Violet. Hello,
Hello.
Violet.
Yeah, finally not neglecting the cat.
I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. You know what? We should definitely get skins for. Nope. Sorry. That was video game knowledge and talk. Sorry. No, we are not going to rip off
Pardon?
Violet's skins.
Pardon? And I neglect the cat.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Pause. Let's go back. We are not ripping off Violet's skin. We should get
Please.
Violet outfits.
Okay. This is better. I like this idea better.
Oh no. I was just like, wait. Okay, so if you guys obviously didn't read the introduction, what are you doing? But two, we're both Twitch streamers, so we play video games. And yeah. So that was game lingo. My bad. We do not mistreat Violet. Shit.
Although sometimes I think she's a skinwalker, but it's okay.
You know, I have to agree, but she kind of just sits there and stares. And as long as you don't stare back at her, she's fine.
One time I did stare back at her and she vanished.
You know, that's valid. We should probably start locking the door.
Yeah.
Well, if you came from the last video, because I obviously told you to, so you're the cool kids. Everyone here gets a nice star smiley face sticker and a lollipop.
Yay!
You can't choose what lollipop. You only get the root beer flavor.
You know, I think I'm okay with this, you know? I like root beer. Root beer!
Some of them are like, you heathen, then you're over here like, yes. I actually like the root beer ones.
I do too.
Well, I'm so ready for this. We are talking about Leather and Lark by Miss B. Weaver, because I can't say her name, Miss Ma'am. I'm so sorry. We kind of touched base on it a little bit last video, but each book is about a different brother. So we are now talking about Lachlan,
My beloved.
Lachlan.
Lachlan.
And we are talking about Lark, which is the best friend of Sloane from book 1.
My beloved. Sorry.
Fucking love her. My God, I love them so much.
Sorry.
All right. Well, oh, I have hiccups. So, Lark, you know, we start off the book. We do meet Lark first. She starts going around unaliving her ex-boyfriend. Ends up getting into a little bit of shit. So she has to call a quote-unquote cleanup crew, which is where Lachlan comes in. He's not actually cleanup crew, but he is the one that got tasked with that for that day. So he ends up basically saying, you know, we need to get you out of here while they're doing XYZ. Get in my trunk. So she's like, no, you fucking weirdo. I'm not gonna get in your trunk. Proceeds to get in his trunk. However, does eventually escape out of it because she's just that good. And time skips a year or two. We do have a secret like side cast type thing. We get like POVs from someone called the Phantom. He is seeking out revenge on Lark, Lachlan, and their friends and family, aka like Sloane, Rowan, all of that. We don't know why at the beginning. Sloane and Rowan do end up planning a secret wedding. Lark overhears her parents discussing possibly killing Lachlan because and Rowan, because they believe that they are behind the most recent murders, if you will. So Lark comes up with an idea with her Aunt Ethel and decides, hey, you know what? Lachlan, you and I should get married. We fucking hate each other and you're scum, but let's get married. So they're like, you know what? Bet. So he ends up marrying her. We do end up finding out a little bit more about trauma when it comes to Lark. She doesn't like anything claustrophobic wise, which then starts making Lachlan kind of second guess putting her in the trunk at the beginning. He does kind of, regret it a little bit. He does start finally looking around and everything. He does find a lot of stuff that Lark has done. So when Lark murders someone, she ends up taking body parts and pieces of her victims and she casts them in mold or in like resin and like makes shit out of them. I believe even her dining room table is one of her victims, which is pretty cool. I wouldn't do that personally, but I do find that very fascinating. So
I do find stuff like that fascinating, but like the moment it happens in real life, it's like whoa, buddy, chill.
Right. I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. Would I ever do that? No, but it was really cool. We do find out that she does not like the term serial killer. She is, as we call, a multiple deleter.
That's so real.
Right? She ends up changing her last name to Kane, which is the brother's last name. Lachlan gives her a getaway weekend where, she's able to finally sleep, get some TLC, all that good shit. This mysterious man goes into Lachlan's leather shop, showing interest in his tools, all that, which does end up going missing, aka his tools. His tools do go missing and is used to kill another person. They end up going and doing like Mission Impossible shit together, infiltrating clubs and trying to find other serial killers and stuff like that. And they like take turns like kind of roughhousing them, which is pretty fucking cool. Lark is also a musician. So she is a guitarist and a singer.
Which is really cool, by the way.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, really, really cool. And you know what? I will actually like interject really quickly. I absolutely despise books that have singing in it. It's so fucking cringe. But I did the audiobook version of this, and the person that did her part sung very beautifully. And it actually made me
I need to listen
like
to that audiobook then, because that's really cool.
There was one song that she sung towards the end that actually made me like kind of tear up. It was like a little bit emotional. It was so good. Which I will talk about that in a minute, but we do have like a spicy on stage scene, which is pretty cool. But this entire book, Lark was incredibly cold towards Lachlan. She does eventually come around. They have this very, very, very phenomenal bonus chapter. This bonus chapter lives rent-free in my head, and it is going down as one of my favorite spicy scenes. It was so good.
Dude, you know how you said like it made you blush? It made me blush.
Oh, yeah, and like that's the thing too. Like that's what I was telling Quinn. Like it takes a lot, and I'm talking about like a lot, to make me like semi-blush in a book, and I was blushing hard. But basically, at the end, kind of leading up to, this is my last thing, I'm sorry, I'm almost done. Leading up to the whole bonus chapter, Lachlan gives her divorce papers and says, you know what, you haven't been able to choose your fate this entire time. You get to choose what you want to do. And he proposes to her. So she ends up ripping up all of the divorce papers, and the bonus chapter is them doing the deed on said ripped up divorce papers, and she is going to town with a good pegster. Yes.
Hell yeah. Like, pop off.
Well, she popped something for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Yes. This book, yes. Yes.
I do really like how this book intertwined characters from the last book.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about background noise. But yeah, I really do like how this book intertwined characters from the last book, and I really enjoy how much effort they put into the characters.
Oh, yeah.
Just overall, like, the character development is really good.
Oh, fantastic. Like, absolutely. 1000% I agree. And, like, the thing is, you know, we mentioned in the first book, we don't really get too connected to the characters. I know Quinn was semi-connected, or, like, you know, felt connected to Sloane. I wasn't. However, in this book, I was so, like, from the very first chapter, I was so connected to Lark and Lachlan. I absolutely loved their characters. I found that they had the absolute most character development in the entire, like, intertwined universe so far. I know, like, Lark, she starts off very cold and very cunty, I guess, but ends up becoming, like, such a wonderful, wonderful woman towards the end, and she is so... Oh, I love her so much. And Lachlan is this badass, as she calls him. Hold on, I have it in my notes. Hold on. Oh my god. She calls him Budget Batman, which is absolutely hilarious.
Which is so real.
Oh my god. There was also, in my notes, this is funny too, there was also a part, so in these book series, she puts in, like, the author puts in, like, disgusting shit, I guess. So they ended up making a pizza smoothie, and they ended up putting in the teeth. And so they're like, why did you put the teeth in? He was like, that's extra calcium. They were like, I'm pretty sure one of them had a fucking gold tooth. He was like, fancy calcium. I'm like, you are so dead ass right now.
Dude, I loved that so much.
And then I liked, sorry, one more. I liked one part where he was talking, it was in Lachlan's point of view, and he was like, and it took me a long time to come up with, and then he starts heavily breathing, and it just, hey.
Hey. Hey. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
If I can, the overall, like, okay, so one thing I found funny was, I think it was near the beginning of the, hold on, let me see. Oh yeah, I liked how, I just, honestly, I liked how they included Sloane. That's all. She's my favorite. She's me for real. I think I connected so much with her because of the first book and her just, like, you know, being that kind of protector towards Lark. And I don't know. It just, I big sister vibes, big brother vibes, like, you know. So that's kind of the whole thing that I grew up on, having, like, a niece and stuff, was like, yeah, I feel like I need to protect my niece. So that's where, but, like, with her, it was with a friend. So that's where I kind of related. So that's just for context. That's why I feel so connected to Sloane's character, is because I'm like, yeah, okay, I get this, you know. And then going into the next book, she's still pretty cool. Doesn't get as much, you know, page time, screen time. But I do appreciate the character development they give like the side characters in the
Oh
book.
yeah.
You know, it's really cool that they're able to do things with the side characters, even though they're like, I don't know how to describe it. You get what I'm trying to say, though, right?
No, yeah, of
Like,
course.
yeah.
And then, I've said it in multiple videos and I will keep saying it every time. I truly feel like a lot of authors have a hard time writing more than 2 characters at a time. And this author does such a good job because not only are we getting the point of view between 2 characters that were very slightly mentioned in the previous book, but now we're getting their full POVs, and also the previous characters, we're getting their development in the background. And that is just so magical because you're intertwined in this magical universe of like their friendships, their families, their relationships, and you get to see each person grow individually but then grow all together as a group. And it also introduces you to the people that the third book is going to be about, so you're already kind of getting a feel for the people that we're about to read about. But then once we start reading the next book, we now already kind of have an understanding of who we're going to see. And that is something that not a lot of authors can do perfectly, and I do think that she mastered that with this series. I will die on that hill.
I will also die on that hill. That the book is really cool. The book series is really cool. Let me correct myself. And like, I kind of echoing what you said. A lot of authors do not write multiple characters well.
Right.
And I went into the second book kind of thinking, oh, well, if there's, because I kind of knew like, oh, they're gonna write this about Lark, because leather, yeah, but it went good. It went well. Like, it didn't go to shit. It went really well, you know? So I was like pleasantly surprised, and I was like, okay. And I actually ended up I ended up rating the book like a solid 4 stars. So 4.5 actually. Sorry, I just looked down at my book. So yeah, I I rated it 4.5 stars. And that's because it was a really good book. It was better than Butcher and Blackbird, in my opinion.
100%. Yeah, because like in the last episode, I told you, like, I was like, is Butcher and Blackbird great? Is it phenomenal? No, it was good. However, I was kind of on the same wavelength as Quinn, but I surprisingly rated this a 5-star. I loved everything about it. I loved the slow burn romance. I loved the development. I loved each individual character as their own entity, but I also loved the characters together as a couple, whether it be best friends, like I mentioned, relationship wise, whatever. I also mentioned this in my Goodreads review. A lot of books nowadays rely on spice to push a non-existent plot. So if a book lacks heavy in plot, there's a shit ton of spice for no fucking reason. And sometimes the spice is really good. Sometimes the spice is very bland and it just calls for a really shitty book. This was the complete opposite. There was so much plot in this book. We didn't even get spicy scenes until probably the last 10 chapters, maybe last like 12 chapters.
Which was, I enjoy spice, but like only whenever it's like last few chapters, you know? So yeah. I'm really glad that's what they did, you know?
And so, I like spice if it's warranted. Like if...
Yeah, like I like it if there's a reason, you know?
Right. And that's something different that they did in this book rather than Butcher, because in Butcher, it was, even if they didn't have a spice scene, it was mentioned every 2 fucking seconds. And mind you, Lachlan did mention it. He mentioned how he would want to see her or he would like to do something to her, but it wasn't like annoyingly repetitive. It was just like, damn, this girl looks really fucking good. She's my wife. Even though at the time she hated him, so he had rights to think about that, but he allowed time to pass before the next thought rushed over him, and he didn't act
Yeah.
on it in like a creepy manner.
Rowan. Sorry,
Yeah,
I had to call him out. I had to call him.
for real, I did not like him.
I don't like him.
But I gave this book a 5-star, and it's been, if you've been here every episode for the past like month, we've been going through it here on Night Court Narrative. But this is a 5-star read for me. I really absolutely loved this book. There was, I think one of the final things I want to say about it, there was a spicy on stage scene, which was actually kind of well done. Mind you, she's up there singing, playing, having fun. She has something in her pocket, if you will, wink wink. And Lachlan has the remote in the crowd, and he just keeps like playing with it, like up, down, up, down, up, down, and eventually allows the song to climax, if you will. And it was a very fun scene. It was very fun because
I
it
love
was
the
like,
wording you used there.
I don't know how to say it for YouTube.
It worked. It worked.
It was very fun. It was a very, very fun scene because if you know anything about that stuff, you know exactly what type of thing that was. So then you're just like, oh, like once the remote came out, I was like, oh, I already fucking know. And it was written very, very well. I used to work in a store like that sold stuff like that. So I was like, I already know what this is. I know the make and the model.
I've been to the back of Spencer's.
But I think that's all I have. Ultimately, this was such a fucking good read. I really liked it. I'm actually very excited for the third book. I know I don't kind of like the brother, but you know what? I like Rose
I don't
a
like the
little
brother
bit.
that much either, but this was a W brother. I'm not gonna lie.
But
I would have yapped more, but there's a lot of background noise, so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I feel like we don't like the brother just because we haven't seen him much. Because we saw Lachlan a lot, but we haven't seen anything about him. So I'm curious to see how he turns out in the final one.
I don't know. I didn't like him because he was like a sassy asshole, but whatever.
Yeah.
But like it was like a different type of sassy asshole. It was like I'm better than you.
Yeah.
Hair flip.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So
well, any final thoughts?
Read the series.
Yeah, please do.
It's really good.
The hype is actually is the whole series so far right? Is the whole series so far like worth the hype? Collectively, maybe, but individually, yes.
Yes.
Well, okay, we're done yapping.
All right.
I hope everyone has a wonderful night. Please be safe and go flip chat off on the way out, please. Fuck you, Chad.
Fuck you, Chad.
Okay, bye.
Bye.